that can make you very potent
Yes.
in your position as a leader, in your position as a volunteer. Are you ready? Are you sure you are ready? Are you ready? Okay, let's get into the word of God. First Kings chapter 3. First Kings, the gospel according to Saint Kings. First Kings chapter 3. You see, it's a scripture you have read over and over and over again, but turn on a new reactive mechanism and be receptive, because it might not go as you've always read it. First Samuel chapter 3. First Samuel. And follow me very, very well so you don't miss it. Praise the Lord. Because I really want to circumcise you tonight. And I told you yesterday that you can either be castrated or circumcised. It is the same process. You pick up one knife, you cut the foreskin, but one makes you impotent and the other makes you potent. And I pray that from tonight, as a leader, you shall be made potent. First, doesn't look like I came reading something that I printed myself. Also, for you, I'm not going to read it. Tell my son, I don't want you to read it, else it will look like we came with our own Bible. I want you to read it from your Bible. Somebody help me read it from your Bible.
First Kings chapter 3.
Yes, I'm listening.
Solomon made an alliance with Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and married his daughter. He brought her to the city of David until he finished building his palace and the temple of the Lord and the wall around Jerusalem. The people, however, were still sacrificing at the high places because the temple had not yet been built for the name of the Lord. Solomon showed his love for the Lord by walking according to the instructions given him by his father David, except that he offered sacrifices and burned.
Watch this. Solomon's service is not something that was originally embedded within him. Solomon's service is as a result of things that his father taught him. Don't forget this. It's a very good foundational mechanism that might be beneficial to you. Don't forget.
Except that he offered sacrifices and burned incense on the high places. The king went to Gibeon to offer sacrifices, for that was the most important high place. And Solomon offered 1,000 burnt offerings on that altar.
Solomon has been taught to offer by his father David. Which means that David was not just effective in warfare, he was also effective in sacrifice. To understand, to an extent that he had gained mastership of sacrifices, to be giving tutorials to his son about sacrifices. You only become a teacher when you have been taught. So Solomon's act of sacrifices was not accidental. It had been structured to an extent that he knows how to teach his son Solomon, I mean David.
So then David has also assumed his father's role. And then he has killed 1,000 cattle as sacrifices. So that was Solomon's first fruit to the throne. Read it.
At Gibeon, the Lord appeared to Solomon during
And then at Gibeon, follow this very critically. Don't miss a line. At Gibeon, Solomon is sacrificing. You can imagine a man sacrificing 1,000 cattle. The work. So to me, the sacrifice, the biggest sacrifice was not the provision of the cattle, but the greatest sacrifice was the slaughter of the cattle. It is like there is no rain. To an extent that the king could not get water for his camel. And the citizens were killing themselves for food. And that is why you cannot trust kingship and politicians. Because when you are thinking about what to eat, they are thinking about what to give to their camels to drink. And then the priests of Baal are invited to kill and to call fire. And then they come and they slaughter their lambs. And they call and fire doesn't come. And then Elijah comes on the scene and he says, before I call for the fire from heaven, let us respond to the greatest sacrifice of life. At that time, at that spur of the moment, the sacrifice was not the bull, but the water that was poured to water the sacrifice. Do you know there are times that, as I stand here, if you give me now $10,000, it's a big money, but it's not too big a deal for me now. But it's voluminous. But 25, 30 years ago, if you are giving me $100, though it is smaller than the $10,000 you give me now, $100 then, to me, was like $1 million. So the greatest sacrifice is not the volume, but the effect at the moment. That is why Jesus can go. If Jesus is to enter into church right now, everybody will ask him, where will you stand? Somebody will go to, he will stand with the worshippers, because the Bible says that he inhabits the praise of his people. Somebody said he will go and sit with the pastors, because the Bible says that he's the great shepherd. Somebody will say he will be an usher, because he said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. But when he went into church, it was the offering bowl that he went to stand by. And he looks to the volumes of offerings that entered the bowl. And he said it is not about the volume. Some giving $1 million and $1 trillion. He says that the greatest offering that has touched my heart is that of his words. Because all of you gave out of the abundance of what you have, but she gave out of the need. So God doesn't look at actions, he looks at intentions. So Solomon is sacrificing 1,000 bulls. The guy will be exhausted. And in the act of the sacrifice, he falls asleep. Read it.
At Gibeon, the Lord appeared to Solomon during the night in a dream, and God said, ask for whatever you want me to give you.
Remember that all these conversations I'm having with you tonight, it's not like Solomon had a personal encounter with God. It is an encounter of dreams. All that we'll be talking about, all this issue about Solomon and his so-called wisdom and all that, it's not something that God appears to him and tells him, what would thou want me to do? But it was an endeavor of dreams. Read it. Very interesting.
Solomon answered, you have shown me great kindness.
No, wait, go back. What happens to Solomon when he falls into a trance, into it?
At Gibeon, The Lord appeared to Solomon during the night in a dream, and God said, "Ask for whatever you want me to give you."
And you see, this is my problem. Why would the Lord not appear to Solomon when he is actively involved in things like this? But the Lord waits for Solomon to go to bed when his sensitivity is moved. You have a dream at night, and a man that could never even say I love you tries to say to you in a dream. You see yourself in a dream, and you see some evil coming your way, and you want to run and you cannot run. You just want to shout the name of Jesus, and you cannot shout it. And you have a dream, and you are a medical doctor, and you see yourself in the classroom teaching back home. And it is like you don't even have control over your dreams. Because when you sleep, you are not in charge of your subconsciousness, but your subconsciousness is in charge of you. But that was the time that God decides to encounter Solomon. You see, I pray today that if you've ever been a good leader, just start from there. Read it.
Solomon answered,
And watch this. In a dream, God comes to Solomon and asks him, "What do you want?" Solomon is going to give an answer and a request. And remember, in a dream, this is not physical. This is a time that his subconsciousness is controlling him. In a dream. Oh my God. And then what happens? Solomon says what?
"You have shown great kindness to your servant, my father David."
This is interesting. This is a man that has been confronted by God. And God is asking him, "Tell me what you want from me by reason of this sacrifice." And that is why the devil frowns on sacrifice. And the devil fights on alms, either with the pastors or the people that give it. Because the devil understands that alms giving attracts the attention of God. About buying a miracle. But you can sow a seed towards a miracle. There are times that God will have done things that he will not do except sacrifices rise up to his throne. And this man has gained God's attention. And God says, "What do you want me to do for you?" Look at what the man is talking about. He's not even talking about himself. He's talking about you. Watch this. Can you imagine when God shows up and asks you, "What do you want?" And at that moment you have lost consciousness of yourself, and you are concentrated on your father David, a man that is far gone. He's gone. He's dead, and it is out of his death that you became who you are. The man is not even alive, and God is asking you, "What do you want me to do?" And he's talking about it. If you cannot do what a man does, don't desire to have what he has. Read it.
"You have shown great kindness to your servant, my
said,
father David."
Wait a minute. Before I talk about me, let me talk about my father. If by chance you don't know him, let me introduce him to you. You have introduced yourself to me, but let me introduce my father to you. He said, "Wait a minute, you asked me of me, but let me talk to you a bit about my father." This was a man that was walking in the wilderness that you showed him so much favor and grace. Read it.
"Because he was faithful to you and righteous and upright in heart."
Who is this man talking about? Are you sure Solomon is talking about David? upright man, David. How he knows how to set up his own loyal people. And by wanting their wives, we take them on the battlefront and see to it that they don't survive the battle, so that David could be married to their wives. And you are talking about righteousness and you are talking about David. Okay, read it.
You have continued this great kindness to him and have given him a son to sit on his throne this very day.
God, I want you to understand that if I found favor before you, it is because David gave birth to me. Please. So please, as much as you want to talk to me about me, let me talk to you about David. And so he said, I'm important and relevant today because of my father, David. Are you following the scripture very well? Read it.
Now, Lord my God, you have made your servant king in place of my father David.
Read it. Okay, let me not waste too much time. I mean to use just 35 minutes to finish up. Read it.
But I am only a little child and do not know how to carry out my duties. Your servant is here among the people you have chosen, a great people, too numerous to count or number. So give your servant a discerning heart to govern your people and to distinguish between right and wrong.
Do you realize that David didn't even ask for wisdom from God? He didn't even ask to manage from God. He never did. Read the scripture.
For who is able to govern this great people of yours?
Thank you. Solomon never asked for wisdom. You've always been taught that Solomon asked for wisdom. It was recently that I found out that he never did. God taught it up to him. What he did was that he asked him for a discerning heart to know between good and evil, not for his own benefit, but for the benefit of the people, and an understanding heart. These were the two things that Solomon asked. We can go on. And God said, by asking these, I will give you wisdom. So Solomon never asked for wisdom from God. But he asked for the right thing and God gave him wisdom. Remember that by the time Solomon is asking for these things, he had not been endowed with wisdom. No, don't be confused. Are you getting me what? Get me what? This is a man that in essence wants understanding hearts and a discerning heart. And God said, by reason of what you asked, I top it up with wisdom. Watch this. And God is asking him what he wanted. He doesn't have the so-called wisdom yet. So what gave him the wisdom to ask for the right thing? I don't know if you are, am I confusing you? God is asking Solomon a question. What do you want? If Solomon had been endowed with wisdom before he goes to God to ask for the right thing, it was justifiable. But as of the time that he's asking the Lord, God had not endowed him with the wisdom. So where did he get the wisdom to ask for the right thing? That is not the first thing. That's the first thing. I believe that God is taking us to a place as leaders where we should not just have control over our surroundings, but we should even have controls over what we don't have control over. As long as you continue what you always do, you will forever receive the results you always have. If nothing changes in your attitude, you get what everybody gets. Solomon said to himself, I don't just want to control my wealth, I also want to control their wealth. To an extent that even in dreams, he has what it takes to control his dreams. And I pray that the church comes to a place whereby we just don't control the natural, but we shall control the natural and the supernatural. How people cannot, a lot of people when they sleep believe there's tongue talking, praying in the spirit. But what they fear most is the night. Because when they begin to dream, they have no control over their dreams. They dream and people are feeding them, they can't control it. They dream and people are sleeping with them in their dreams, they can't control it. They dream and they are walking as scattered men and women, they can't control it. Why? Because you've not come to a place of control. When you are being controlled, you are controlled. But when you control, you control. Some of you don't understand why Solomon will qualify for what he qualified for. But it is because before God endows him with wisdom, there is a source that Solomon was connected to. Oh. No, can I teach you? Can I teach you? Can I talk to you? Always remember that before God gives him wisdom, Solomon already had a level of wisdom. Because to be able to ask the right thing from God, you should have a certain level of wisdom. Why did he not ask for the wrong thing and then come back to ask for the right thing after God gives him wisdom? But just as God encounters him in dreams, he is able to ask for the right thing for God to give him wisdom. It meant that before he received wisdom, he had wisdom. Now where did it come from? How can a man encounter God and even have control over the dreams he has? And look at the exhibition of strength. Oh God, I appreciate your readiness to bless me. But let me first of all introduce a man you give to. Without whom your abilities in my life wouldn't have been seen. Understand this. God does not work alone. It's impossible. God never works alone. You are his handiwork. And yet when he comes to you, he knocks at the door. Not until you say come in, he cannot come in. Don't forget, the pastor is a lawyer, he knows what I'm talking about. In every law court, there is the bench, there is the defense, and there is the prosecution. The devil is a constant prosecutor, so we call him the accuser of the brethren. He accuses God before men and accuses men before God. How did I know? Whenever he meets God, he wants to tell some things negative about man. And God is asking him, have you considered my son Job? And he said, oh God, you are talking to the wrong prosecutor. Job is a bad man. It's because of your protection. It's because of your love. The man is a bad man. He creates, you see, the devil deals with facts, but God deals with truth. He is not a God of facts, he is a God of truth. And that is why you will not know the facts, for the fact will set you free. But the Bible says that you shall know the truth, and the knowledge of the truth shall set you free. Watch it. The issue of Joseph. Who could have defended him? The fact of the matter is that there is evidences to the effect. There are extracts to the effect that there is a garment the lady holds. That suggests that Joseph had wanted to rape Potiphar's wife. It was factual. And at times, the facts could be put together, and yet the truth can never be seen. But there is always a difference between the facts and the truth. God can no way work on earth except a man gives him access. How can God himself want to come amongst his own and just use a vessel called Mary? Because the human entity is the only entry point to the earth. If God wants to cover you, he will have to use a man. If God wants to anoint you, he has to use a man. If God wants to promote you, he has to use a man. In everything that God wants to do here on earth, without man, it is impossible for God to do it. Because he said himself that it is only out of the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses that every word is established. Because when he finished the heavens and the earth, he said the heavens are perfect, so I have stayed in the heavens. But he said the earth have I given to the sons of man. Watch this. David is talking to a God that created his father, that created his father's wealth, that created his father's influence. And yet, as he talks to this man called God, who is the I am, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the Rock of Ages, the lilies of the valley, he's telling him, if you don't know, you gave me a man before you gave me a seed. I wish I would be able to bless you. The greatest tragedy in life is to have God and not have man. It's a tragedy. Wow. If you read that the book of Matthew very critically, chapters 3 and 4, after Jesus had been born, Jesus wants to start his ministry. And then Jesus goes to Jordan. The Jordan is an interesting place, but I won't talk about it. And then at Jordan, he sees John the Baptist baptizing. Remember that John the Baptist was born for Jesus, but Jesus was not born for John the Baptist. That is the problem we have. Definitions of relationships. You see, to me, John the Baptist committed suicide. Nobody killed him, he killed himself. Because Jesus said that blessed is the man that is not offended in me. It means that anyone that gets offended in him is cursed. The day John the Baptist got offended was when he began to derail in ministry. Look at John the Baptist. You were, if not for Jesus, your mother would have died a barren woman. And so your mother conceives because Jesus had to be born. That is the only reason why you were conceived. So your mother conceived for Jesus, but Mary didn't conceive for you. So there were things that Jesus will be supported with by John the Baptist. But Jesus will not do same for John the Baptist because their definitions are different. Let's say if Jesus was arrested, John the Baptist will have rallied the people around him, gone after Jesus and fought for Jesus. But when John the Baptist is arrested, it is not the duty of Jesus to go and fight for John the Baptist. Because John understands this. You were created for me, but I was not created for you.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
And these are some of the pettiness we have in church. My mother died, the papa didn't come to visit. I was sick, the pastor didn't come looking for me. You've got to understand that you were born for your father, but your father was not born for you. Watch this. How can a man who was called to prepare the way of Christ change his ministry and depreciate into becoming a marriage seminar, inspirational speaker, motivational speaker? No, when you should be talking about Christ, you are talking about Herod and his marriage. Whenever you lose your focus, you expose yourself to the devil. You should be talking about the cross. You are talking about Herod's marriage. That is why your head will be found in his palace. Because you have reduced yourself to the level of the marriage council. And that is why when you lose your potency as a leader, you lose your existence. Was John the Baptist not there? When a voice spoke in heaven as I speak to you about it, this is my beloved son. And then he has the ability, because he's arrested and Jesus doesn't come there. Go and ask that Jesus, is he the Christ, or we should expect another to come? He had lost it. But look at how Jesus says it. If it was us, some of us, hey, what does that Jesus mean? What does that John the Baptist mean? That guy is not correct though. That guy is not, I told you he has lost his spiritual sensitivity. But look at Jesus. He knows how to respond to the man that introduces him. Whether he failed or not. Because don't underestimate Eli. Even in his fallen state, when God has sent an angel to tell him, a prophet, that I have rejected you, in that state, he shows the latest prophet in town how to hear the voice of God.
Wow.
A fallen general is better than a recruited lieutenant. No, are you sure you are ready for that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Jesus goes to John the Baptist, baptize me. John the Baptist said, no way. He says, I don't say no. I am the Christ. But to gain acceptance in ministry, I have it all, the word and the spirit. But a man has to introduce me. Can I ask you a question? Who introduces you? Who introduces you in leadership?
Wow.
Who controls you in leadership? In marriage, in every aspect of your life? Who is the man that you can call your introducer? John the Baptist said, no, I cannot. He said, don't try it. It has already occurred. You can only fulfill what has already been fulfilled.
Wow. Wow.
Baptize me to fulfill all righteousness. Which means that, you see, how can you fulfill a glass that has not been filled? If it is empty, you fill it. If it is already full, you fulfill it. So what Jesus is telling John the Baptist is that this baptism has already taken place. So why are you acting like it is the first time? And you've got to understand, John the Baptist, the fact that it happened the first time does not mean God has the right to move. Please, by the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, every word has to be established. So please, that is why even in heaven there is a great cloud of witnesses. Because if the witnesses are not there, and at the day of judgment, God tells you, you are not accepted here. You can say to God, you are a liar, it is not true. But as you contend with God, the witnesses say that we were there. Even in heaven. Even in heaven. And somebody said, when did the first baptism happened in the life of, in the house of Elizabeth. No, are you sure you want to be blessed?
Yeah.
I'm coming to a point. I'll get there very soon. And when I get there, I'll talk about it for 5 minutes and I close. And that will be an anchor of your life forever. I've seen a lot of people come to me. What is your secret? And it's not complicated. I'll spell it out to you now. Something that can make you the most effective tool. If today, Russia wants to fight Ghana, and Ghana is trying to recruit a lot of military men to fight Russia, are we not insane? The day Russia says we'll fight you, come public and declare we owe allegiance to America. Don't go and recruit military men. Hello?
Hi.
Are you here with me? I don't think you are.
We are.
Somebody said, what are you talking about? Okay. Mary goes into the house of Elizabeth, but the question is, Elizabeth had been pregnant for 6 months before Mary's pregnancy. And the angel visits Mary, and Mary is also pregnant. The greatness of a man is not who visits you, it's not who you visit, it is who visits you. If today the president visits you, then it means you are great. But anybody can book an appointment and go through clearance and be accepted in the White House. So it is no story when you go to the White House. But if the White House visits you, it is a story.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
There are some of us women and men. The moment the angel said, your cousin Elizabeth has a son, and the son is because of your pregnancy, you say, oh, call Elizabeth for me, let him come. But the angel said, get up and go to Elizabeth. So it is not Elizabeth coming to Mary, it is Mary, the carrier of Jesus, that is going to where Elizabeth is. Why? This woman has been pregnant for 6 months. She understands it when you are craving. So she will teach you what to eat and what not to eat. She understands it when she feels like throwing up. And so when you feel like throwing up, she knows how to tell you, yes, you carry the Messiah, but you need an Elizabeth to tell you how to go through your pregnancy. It doesn't matter who you carry. If you don't have an Elizabeth you can go to, you fail in life and in ministry. Oh my God. Tell God to reveal your Elizabeth. That's why it gets scary. When you see young men and young women, I remember in Ghana, about 30, 35 years ago, the first pastor in Ghana that ever drove a Mercedes Benz was my father, the Archbishop Duncan Williams. And his was, I think, a V-boot or a stroke 8. They fought him. Today, I have an S63 AMG. Nobody wrote about me. Nobody said anything in the media about me. Nobody even realizes it. And I begin to drive it, and I think I'm driving it because I am stronger and more powerful. No, I am driving it because there was a man that took all my battles, that took all the arrows, that took every shame, that fought every battle I should have fought. And so the day I fight against the man, I am fighting against my own relevance and my own existence.
Wow. Wow. God bless you.
So you see people fighting great men in the city. Man of God. It doesn't matter who is in this city, whose church your church is bigger than. So far as they were here before you did, honor that level of battles they fought. Because some of you, their churches have fallen because your churches have to be full. Look at Mary coming to Elizabeth. Does it ring a bell? What she carries is bigger than what Elizabeth carries. But she's still coming to Elizabeth. In fact, the angel said, now go to Elizabeth. God help us. Give us peace. Unfortunately, we are just interested about who can prophesy. We are just interested about who has the mega churches. And that is why me, of late, it is difficult. All the mega churches I preach in, I no more preach in. They are always inviting me, I'm not going. Because I am tired of playing church. Because that is where the emphasis of the church is. And yet there are people who carry smaller things, but have experiences the people that have the biggest of all don't have. You see, if you've ever studied about conceptions, before the child comes out in the womb, God first provides water. And as the fetus grows, the water increases. And so remember that John the Baptist is in water and Jesus is in water. Because conception, that is why a woman's water breaks and you got to rush them to the hospital so you save the child, because every conception has water. And the moment Mary met Elizabeth, the baby began to leap. So baptism took place even in the womb. And Jesus is telling John the Baptist that this baptism took place in your mother's house. And so do it again to fulfill all scripture and all righteousness. Watch out when you are fulfilling, because somebody might have failed it before you fulfill it. Mm-hmm. Some of you, if not for faith fellowship, you will never know you were a singer. Some of you, if not for faith fellowship, you will never know you were a leader. Some of you, if not for faith fellowship, you might never have gotten married, because that is where you found your spouses. And some of you, if not for faith fellowship, you will never know the dynamism of worship. Faith fellowship filled you up. So make sure you are fulfilled the same ministry. Say, help me, Lord. Help me, Lord. Say, help me, Lord. Help me, Lord. Say, help me, Lord. Help me, Lord. If you are given the opportunity to see God, and He asks you what you want, what do you introduce first? I love Solomon. He qualifies for what he qualifies for because Solomon is too smart. And he tells the Lord, to get mine, I'll first of all introduce my father. Let me project my man before I project myself. Let me project the man that energized me and empowered me. That before you were asking me this wisdom, there was a man that gave me wisdom. Don't forget, I said, before God gave him wisdom, somebody said, how did you know this? Let's go to Proverbs chapter 4. Proverbs chapter 4. Proverbs chapter 4. Who wrote the book of Proverbs?
Solomon.
Who wrote the book of Proverbs? Solomon wrote the book of Proverbs. And let us hear from Solomon's own mouth where he got what he got. So, the book of Solomon chapter 4, the verse 1. Proverbs chapter 4. Read it.
Listen, my sons,
to
a father's instruction.
I want to warn you today that if there is anything that you got to listen to a father. So the question here is, what about the son without a father? What about a man without a father? Read it.
Pay attention and gain understanding.
He said, I want to give you an understanding, but pay attention now. You see, when somebody says pay attention, it means that he's about to say something that if you are not sensitive, you miss it. It might be one statement, it might be one word, so pay attention. Something peculiar is going to happen, so pay attention, pay
give you sound learning. Do not forsake my teaching. For I too was a son to my father, still tender and cherished by my mother. Then he taught me.
Thank you. Solomon is telling you something that before you go to God and ask of God the wisdom he asked, the so-called wisdom we say he asked, I'm going to the dynamics of that. Before you also go to God and tell the Lord, give me an understanding heart and an objective spirit to know between good and evil. He said, I want to teach you something that God had not taught me. He said, I want to teach you something that I knew before God empowered me with the wisdom I have. He said, I was also a son like you are. So sons, listen to me. That is why a good father is somebody that has been a son before. And so you see, can I talk to you freely?
Yes, sir.
Can I talk to you freely? Let me be free. Let me be free. I feel bound. When the 50 sons of the prophets are telling Elijah, your master is about to be taken from you, they are making a profound statement that if you've not been there, you won't understand. I'll be finishing very soon. At Gilgal, there are the sons of the prophets who spoke. At Bethel, the sons of the prophets who spoke. At Jericho, the sons of the prophets spoke. And you see, many a times, if you have been a son before, you'll understand the relationship between a father and a son. And also appreciate the relationship between a servant and a master. But if you have not been a son, you will not understand the dynamics between servants and their bosses. Am I getting something? Now, these sons of the prophets never said, hey, Elisha, your father is about to be taken out of you. No. But he said, your master. Wherever there is a master, there is a servant. They are trying to give a message. Somebody said, what message? They are trying to tell Elisha, you are wasting your time. Because according to Galatians chapter 4, a child, as long as he remains a child, different nothing from a servant, but is under tutors and governors, which means that an heir has to be a son and not a servant. They are telling Elisha that this man called Elijah is treating you like a slave. This gives me the assurance that Elijah was not treating Elisha well. To an extent that sons will see a servant and a master. Sons, 3 groups of sons. We are not talking about ordinary people. We are talking about sons who understand the relationship between a father and a son. And so they understand who a servant is. Because in their father's house, they have sons and they have slaves. And so they saw the treatment Elijah was giving to Elisha. And they said, this is not a father-son relationship. This is a master-servant relationship. And Elisha, stop following this man because you are wasting your time. Because you are not an heir as long as you are a servant. But Elisha said, he may see me as a slave, but I see him as a father. 3 times they called him a slave. 2 times he called him my master, my father. What gives you the double portion is not how your father sees you, but it is how you see your father. Elisha said, I know the man doesn't treat me well, but it's not about him. How many days? You see, every one of you must understand that what is at stake is not what the father is giving, but what the son is receiving. you stand a great risk of losing a blessing from your father. So what your father will not do, you got to do it.
That's right.
What your father will not protect you over, you got to protect him over it. Look at the presentation of David, of Solomon, calling David a righteous man. What is Solomon? Solomon is saying, they claim the man killed a certain man, but me, I didn't see it. I don't know. If you saw it, it is between you, oh God, and him, but me. There is no righteous man I've never seen. When you come to my office today, as I speak, I advise 3 presidents, 2 prime ministers in Africa. In our country, when the president was endorsed, go through the archives, get on the internet. The president of Ghana mentioned my name and thanked me for helping him through the process. Get on the internet. But you never come to my office and see me with any president on my wall. No. In my new office, I was out of town. I traveled to somewhere. I came to Ghana and then I saw my walls decorated with the pictures of presidents. I said, hey, there is only one president in my office. There is only one man I know. I don't know any president. The problem that we have is that you have too many voices, so you don't have any that controls you. Some of you are sitting under this anointing. When you have crisis in your marriage, you have a prophet in Zimbabwe. When you are having crisis in your finances, you have a prophet in Ghana. You have too many voices. And that is why not a single voice controls you.
Teach me.
Me, my policy is, it is better to die with conviction than to live without conviction. I better follow the voice of my father and fail than to follow every voice and succeed. Anyway, when I succeed, what will be my point of reference? Some of us underestimate the fathers God gives to us in ministry. Recently, we had a conference. Myself, my father, Paul White, Papa Boy, Jackie, TDJs. And then everybody ministered. I also finished ministry. And then my guy said, Papa, go and take the pictures with the people. I said, no. I respect Papa Boy. I honor him. I respect TDJs. I honor him. I respect all the other preachers. But that is why it ends. My Superman is one. That is my father. You can preach better than he does, but that is the best preaching I know. You may be more blessed than he is, but that is the only blessed man I know. He may be more influential than he is, but that is the only influential man I know. And ladies and gentlemen, when you introduce one man to God, he understands that he can trust you with whatever he has to give to you.
God bless you. Wow.
I will never forget about this thing that happened to me in Ghana. Let me tell you this story. I do a lot. A year it runs into millions sometimes of charity. So there is a particular woman and the husband that were going through a difficult time. So I decided to adopt their family so that I give an orphan to them for them to take care of. So you take care of my orphan and I take care of your family. Good system. Is it not a deal? So that was what was happening. So this man had 3 kids, and then they were taking care of this child. I had traveled, and some way I was having a meeting around their area. I said, let me go and visit them. Let me surprise them. So I decided to surprise them. So I drove. I was driving a very good car. I had a good perfume on me and wearing good things and smelling nice. I was confident in myself. And then I went to the house and I got to know that the man had gone out to buy something. And then they had this 1.5-year child whose face was not well, running nose and all that. So I took my handkerchief and I cleaned up the boy. And I carried the boy, patting the back. The boy was relaxed. And then, in a few minutes, when this guy had come to his house, he ran, papa, papa, papa. And the moment he came, his son began to cry, Dada, Dada. I said, you don't get no taste. You are with me and you are going to this man. And I can hear the son saying, whether you like it or not, my father.